In this podcast episode, Vanessa Van Edwards shares deep insights into the subtle art of signaling attraction and availability in social settings, decoding body language cues, and improving interpersonal connections, whether at bars, gyms, work, or events. She breaks down common misunderstandings about flirting, highlights the psychological effects that influence attraction, and provides practical advice on how to break conversational scripts and create meaningful bonds. Vanessa also addresses important themes such as authenticity, confidence in communication, detecting manipulation, and enhancing social dynamics in both personal and professional life. Vanessa introduces the concept of signal amplification bias, a well-studied phenomenon where people believe their flirtatious cues are obvious to others when, in fact, they are often missed entirely. In one study cited, it took an average of 29 flirtatious signals across 10 minutes for a woman to be approached by a man, contrary to the common assumption that only a handful of cues are needed. This reveals that flirting requires persistence and clarity far beyond what is typically expected. Additionally, Vanessa points out that attractive women who do not signal enough availability tend to be approached less conventionally attractive women who are more visibly open. She emphasizes that signaling availability through body language is a vital piece that often outweighs physical attractiveness alone. Vanessa explains the mechanics of flirty glances, including sweeping the room, locking brief eye contact followed by looking away, and subtle smiles. She highlights the effectiveness of a down and up look through the lashes, often associated with classic sensual icons like Marilyn Monroe. Self-touch, such as playing with hair, touching the neck, lips, or chin, is another signal, evolutionary tied to releasing pheromones and overall indicating health and availability. Vanessa underscores how these subtle gestures, when repeated consistently, create an unmistakable message of interest. A simple verbal "hey," delivered confidently and warmly, is also presented as one of the most powerful yet low-pressure ways to signal availability and invite interaction from others. The episode delves into how tone of voice heavily influences perceived confidence. Vanessa instructs listeners to use the lowest end of their natural vocal range when initiating conversation. Speaking on the out-breath relaxes vocal cords, projects calmness, and signals confidence, while speaking in a higher pitch often conveys nervousness or anxiety. Studies show people make rapid subconscious judgments about confidence within milliseconds of hearing someone speak. Therefore, the way you say hey or hello can either invite positive engagement or shut down potential interaction. Practicing a confident, warm vocal tone increases the likelihood of reciprocal communication and reduces awkwardness. Vanessa advises abandoning worn-out social scripts like, "Where are you from?" or "What do you do?" in favor of context-specific conversation starters that invite shared experience or interests. Commenting on the immediate environment, such as "tough class, right?" or "how do you like this wine?" opens the door for genuine "me too" moments where both parties relate authentically. She introduces the similarity attraction effect, emphasizing that repeated shared affirmations build connection threads. These threads increase feelings of belonging and make conversations more engaging and less superficial. Vanessa shares research revealing that popular, well-liked individuals tend to have the longest lists of people they genuinely like, rather than focusing on themselves to impress. This proactive, authentic liking of others can deepen social bonds and increase overall attractiveness, whether in friendships or romantic contexts. She encourages listeners to actively find reasons to like the people they meet and to express that liking openly, rejecting the outdated notion of playing it cool. Authentic vulnerability and openly saying "I like you" can strengthen connections and remove social ambiguity. To combat awkward or rigid conversations, Vanessa suggests incorporating playful elements like guessing games related to common questions. For example, instead of merely stating the number of siblings, asking, "Guess how many siblings I have," invites curiosity and lighthearted interaction. This helps break the monotony of typical small talk and increases engagement by creating unexpected dopamine-fueled moments for both participants. Humor and unexpected responses can reframe conversations into enjoyable and memorable experiences. Vanessa teaches how to exit conversations politely and subtly when interest wanes. Nonverbal cues such as angling toes toward the exit, reducing eye contact, and occasionally gazing overhead signal disengagement without offense. Verbally, steering the conversation toward future plans or expressing gratitude followed by a warm farewell provides a respectful way out. She also explains how nodding dynamics influence talk time. Slow triple nods encourage speakers to share more, while faster nods can indicate a desire to conclude. These nuanced tactics help avoid awkwardness and preserve goodwill. The episode explores how people assess others primarily on warmth and competence, which together account for 82% of social judgments. Vanessa observes that many people signal uneven levels of these traits, often people pleasers showing high warmth but sacrificing competence. She recommends balancing both to be liked and respected. Negative social cues such as eye rolls or scoffs trigger physiological responses, like increased pupil dilation and vigilance, indicating perceived social rejection. Recognizing incongruence between verbal and nonverbal signals can reveal dishonesty or discomfort. Vanessa cautions listeners to tune into their instincts since the brain's amygdala reacts to subtle threat signals, including microexpressions and even scent-related fear signals, which may not be consciously identified but impact trust and safety. Vanessa introduces the CAR test as a way to observe true character beyond scripted social settings. Spending extended time, such as on a road trip, reveals how someone handles stress, behavior in less controlled environments, and inconsistencies between words and actions. She warns of narcissistic and manipulative traits that often camouflage as charisma, with patterns like playing the victim when needs are unmet or consistently creating unnecessary conflict. In a side-by-side setting like car rides or walks, people tend to disclose differently than in face-to-face situations, offering deeper insights into authenticity. Recognizing these patterns early protects emotional well-being in relationships. Vanessa expands her advice to professional contexts, encouraging breaking dull social routines and starting meetings by inviting participants to tell me something good. Encouraging team members to share positive updates fosters warmth, engagement, and psychological safety. She also advocates asking colleagues what exciting projects they are working on as a way to stimulate dopamine and generate energizing conversation outside the usual "how are you?" or "busy, good." Exchange, intentional curiosity and vulnerability build trust and make daily interactions more meaningful and memorable. Addressing the temptation of people-pleasing, Vanessa stresses the importance of genuine expression over inauthentic attempts to gain approval. While being liked is a common desire, sacrificing credibility or mimicking interests just to be accepted can backfire and generate mistrust. She encourages embracing honest differences and using those as conversation starters rather than sources of conflict. For dating especially, clear communication of personal values and dislikes up front helps avoid mismatches and wasted time. Authenticity fosters deeper and more satisfying connections. Vanessa helps distinguish between true charisma and narcissism. While narcissists may initially exude warmth, competence, and magnetic confidence, their behavior often spirals into victimhood language or high-conflict drama when expectations are unmet. Recognizing these patterns early, through extended interactions and observation off-script, is critical. Genuine charisma inspires and uplifts, whereas narcissism manipulates and destabilizes relationships. Awareness of these dynamics aids in making healthier social choices. The episode emphasizes the neurological impact of conversation style on connection. Dopamine, a chemical associated with motivation and pleasure, is released in response to novel, exciting, or emotionally resonant interactions. Unique questions, playful storytelling, and actively seeking Me Too moments create memorable exchanges. Vanessa encourages curating personal stories as conversational assets to foster engagement and form lasting impressions in dating, friendships, or professional settings. Finally, Vanessa highlights the importance of emotional safety and presence in interactions. Feeling safe to share real, unscripted responses signals psychological comfort, which is necessary for genuine connection and vulnerability. Attuning to both positive and negative social cues and balancing warmth with competence allows relationships to evolve authentically and healthily. She underscores the dynamic exchange of signals, encoding, decoding, and internalizing, that sustains meaningful communication and builds trust over time.